Welcome back to another day in our driving, and today's episode is going to be a special one. Because we're not just looking at a car, we're looking at a legacy brought back to life. Today, we're diving deep into the all-new 2026 Triumph Spitfire, a name that hasn't graced a new badge since the early 80s, but now, it's returned, and Triumph is aiming to shake up the modern roadster scene in a big way. So, why revive the Spitfire now? According to Triumph, this isn't just a nostalgia trip. It's a redefinition of what a lightweight, affordable, back-to-basics sports car can be in the F and hybrid era. But let's be clear right from the jumper, this isn't just retro-styled toy for weekend warriors. This car means business. The 2026 Spitfire rides on an all-new platform Triumph co-developed with Lotus and a few unnamed boutique engineering firms in the UK. The goal was to keep the weight under 1,100 kilograms without sacrificing safety or daily usability. And they've done it. The base model tips the scales at just under 1,080 kilograms. It's all aluminium, with carbon fiber elements in the hood and trunk, and a completely new suspension setup designed for maximum feedback and minimal weight. Now let's talk about the engine. Yes, Engine was in internal combustion. In a move that's going to make purists smile from ear to ear, Triumph has gone with a 1.5-litre turbocharged inline-3 engine for the base model, pushing out 180 horsepower and 200 pounds-to-feet of torque. And it's mated to a 6-speed manual gearbox. Rear-wheel drive. Of course, if that doesn't scream driver's car, I don't know what does. For those looking for more punch, there's an R version with a slightly larger 2.0-litre turbocharged inline-4 producing 250 horsepower and a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission as an option. There's also a plug-in hybrid version in the pipeline for early 2027, but today, we're focusing on the pure, analog experience. From the outside, the new Spitfire is a bold reinterpretation of the original. The long hood, the short rear deck, and the low-slung profile are all here but sharpened with modern edges. The LED headlamps are slim and aggressive, and the front grille pays homage to the original Spitfire MK with its slight dip in the center. The wheels are 17-inch forged alloys on the base trim, 18s on the R version, and they're wrapped in sticky Michelin Pilot Sport 5 rubber. Walk around the car, and you'll notice how compact it really is. It's barely longer than a Mazda MX-5, but it feels even more athletic. The sculpted rear haunches give it a planted stance, and the dual exhaust tips are angled outward just like the old race-spec Spitfire S, a hint at the performance lurking beneath. Hop inside, and things get interesting. This isn't a luxury cockpit, and it doesn't try to be. Instead, it's driver-focused minimalism. Analog gauges come standard, yes. Actual needles and dials so with a central tach and speedo, flanked by temperature and fuel indicators. There's a small digital screen tucked into the center for nav and media, but it disappears when not in use. The steering wheel is a simple 3-spoke designer, no buttons, no distractions, just clean leather and brushed aluminium. The gear shift is short throw, mechanical, and perfectly weighted. Pedals are drilled aluminium and spaced for heel and toe shifting right out of the gate. Seats are snug but comfortable, wrapped in Alcantara with contrast stitching and just enough bolstering to keep you in place on hard corners. There's no power adjustment or manual only, and Triumph says that's on purpose. Less weight, fewer distractions, and more connection between car and driver. On the road, the 2026 Spitfire is everything you'd want from a modern British sports car. It's nimble, eager, and incredibly communicative. The steering is hydraulic and not electric, which is practically unheard of in 2026. But the feedback it delivers through the wheel is phenomenal. You feel every contour of the road, every subtle shift in grip. Turn-in is sharp, with just the right amount of play before the tires bite. The Turbo 3 engine isn't overwhelming, but it's punchy. There's virtually no turbo lag, and the torque comes on strong from around 2000 RPM all the way up to the red line at 6800. The engine note is raspy and mechanical, with a proper snarl underloader, no fake piped-in audio here, just raw, unfiltered sound. It dances through corners. The weight distribution is near 50-50, and with double wishbone suspension front and rear, the car feels balanced and playful. You can push the rear out under throttle if you want, but it's never snappy or unpredictable. The chassis gives you confidence to explore its limits, and that's exactly what a car like this should do. Braking is handled by 4-piston Brembo calipers up front and 2-piston rears, with ventilated discs all around. Pedal feel is firm and progressive, and fade is minimal even after repeated hard stops. For the track rat, there's an optional track pack that includes upgraded pads, a more aggressive brake bias, and an integrated telemetry system. Fuel economy? Not really the point, but the base model returns about 40 miles per gallon combined, thanks to the small engine and light weight. And yes, you can daily this car if you're committed. There's a small trunk for a gym bag or groceries, and the rear trunk is big enough for a weekend getaway. No back seats. Thought for this is a strict 2-seater. Safety gear is surprisingly robust. You get ABS, traction control, lane departure warning, and automatic emergency braking as standard. But unlike many modern cars, none of that tech gets in your way. You can turn off all the nannies with one button and enjoy the car or, just like it was meant to be. The price? That's the kicker. The base 2026 Spitfire starts at just under $32,000. Let that sink in. A rear-wheel drive manual British Roadster with true sports car dynamics are for the price of a decently equipped crossover. The R version bumps that to around $39,000. And the future hybrid will likely come in around $42,000. This isn't just a great car, it's a statement. Triumph is telling the world that driving can still be joyful, analog, and affordable. In a time when everything is going electric, digital, and automated, the Spitfire brings us back to the basics in the best way possible. If you're a fan of driving for the sake of driving, this car should be on your radar. It's not about lap times or spec sheet battles. It's about connection, about feel, about wind in your hair and rubber on the road. And in that respect, the 2026 Triumph Spitfire absolutely nails it. So, would we recommend it? Without hesitation. The Spitfire is more than just a name revived. It's a proper modern classic in the making and possibly one of the most important enthusiast cars of the decade. It reminds us that you don't need 1,000 horsepower or an electric motor the size of a fridge to have a great time behind the wheel. That's all for today's drive. Make sure to drop your thoughts in the comments. Is the 2026 Spitfire the revival we've all been waiting for? Or is Triumph just playing on nostalgia? Either way, we can't wait to spend more time with it. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.